Welcome everybody to the Give It Podcast, the podcast for blurs, for nerds. If you have a fandom, you are most certainly welcome here. I'm host the most Black Spartan, of course, the man to my left, your right, Showa Guy Joe and Safari TV. How you guys doing tonight?
It's Friday.
Ain't that the truth, Joe?
Dramatically foreshadowing everything for the final episode.
He'll understand when we get there.
Shows and our careers, yeah. Shout out to IT guys.
Ain't that the truth? We are underappreciated. But as you can see, guys, we are a little bit older, so we do try to watch our language. Words do fly sometimes. We don't mean that on purpose, but sometimes we gotta get our words out. At the same time, there may be things that might be shown tonight that might be too intense for younger viewers. So viewer discretion is advised. Aside from that, welcome. How do we start this? Microsoft is in the news again, and not because of their showcase that's coming up next month, June the 9th, which I hope will bring some good news, especially for Gears fans. Again, that's nothing but a rumor. But unfortunately, Microsoft is in the news because, well, they are closing Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, and more. And what looks to be a bloody, I guess we call it Bloody Friday or Bloody Thursday, to where Microsoft, if you guys don't remember, did acquire quite a lot of smaller game studios in the same sense that Sony did. And because of that, the excuse that Microsoft has given is that they are unable to sustain all these game studios, so therefore they're starting to actually close them. If you remember Arcane Austin, they actually came up with Redfall, which I guess you could say...
I do apologize.
Say what?
Which Phil Spencer had to apologize for.
Yep, he had to apologize for that. And they also did Hi-Fi Rush and Evil Within, which was, again, one of my favorite survival horror games, was done by Tango Gameworks. That's also closing. And also the mobile game studios, such as Alpha Dog Games, which actually came up with Mighty Doom, and Roundhouse Studios, which isn't being cut. It's actually being absorbed by the Elder Scrolls Online developer, ZeniMax Studios. If you're also wondering, as far as the ID group that came up with the game Doom, it is safe, which is, I guess, the strangest thing about all this is. However, if you did purchase Redfall, they did sit there and say that, bad news, Microsoft has ended all development on that game, even though folks have paid full price for the game and also for the DLC, the Hero DLC, which Microsoft says that as of right now, Redfall will remain online to play and will provide a quote-unquote make-good offer for those that bought the DLC. So, fellas, I'm just gonna throw this up to Joe first, because does this feel like we're gonna be doing this? Stop giving Phil Spencer a pass.
Yeah, I'm tired of seeing him coming out and apologizing every single time something in Microsoft just like fails to produce. And unfortunately, this is only the tip of the iceberg. More stuff got leaked today. God bless Jason Schreier. It is now being said that Call of Duty may or may not be on live on Game Pass going forward. And furthermore, if it is on Game Pass, they may do the PSN move and make a tiered form of Game Pass where only certain games will be on certain forms of Game Pass.
Yep.
So, now, Redfall is the reason Arcane Studios went under. There is no illusion about that. That game failed to the point where, once again, Phil Spencer came out and said, I'm sorry. Now, Tango Studios, Hi-Fi Rush. We don't know how much it made, but it was considered success. However, they acquired Tango Studios for Shinji Mikami. Shinji Mikami promptly left as soon as Hi-Fi Rush was gone.
Right.
So they acquired the studios for a gentleman because of his talents with Evil Within and his prior works with the Resident Evil franchise. And Tango Works even came out and said, we presented Microsoft a proposal to do Hi-Fi Rush 2, and they turned it down. On top of that, Like this just keeps going. Like this just like keeps
Yeah.
escalating. If you look at Arcane Studios and Tango Studios, their announcement letters of them shuttering are the same font type, the same lettering, the same wording. This was done. They knew in advance what was coming,
Yeah.
and this got prepared. This was prepared by Microsoft, and to further shoot themselves in the foot, like I said, now they're attacking everybody's Call of Duty. So
Which just
this is just I don't care what you're showing at not quite E3. They have not had this disastrous of a moment since the time they said game sharing was DRM only, and Sony just like handed a game between two executives. They are going to be hurt badly.
But the thing about it is, though, it's nothing different that was done almost 20 years ago. Like we've seen this cycle before of where you have multiple game studios out there that either produce very good IPs or produce a single IP, like Infinity Ward did with Call of Duty, and made it successful. The big game developer, big video games consoles, bought them up, gutted them, and then decided to close down studios that they say quote unquote didn't make money. This is what what Microsoft basically did was, okay, we're going to follow what Sony did. Sony bought game studios. We'll buy game studios out of the fear that those particular titles will become exclusive to said console. Even though with Microsoft gaining Activision, the big fear was for a lot of PlayStation owners, we won't be able to get to play Call of Duty because that will become an Xbox exclusive, which was the whole, they won't say it, but it was the whole hang up about the whole acquisition to begin with. But with that being said, this is also
that was the whole antitrust lawsuit.
Yeah. But the whole thing being said, though, this is on top of the already 2,000 employees Microsoft has already cut. And this is just from the gaming studio. This is not from their Windows or their Office departments. This is strategically from their Xbox division. So it sucks. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, like I said, I do feel for all those that are without jobs, even though there are some gaming studios out there that are looking to pick up those developers because, as Tafari has said on the previous podcast, NDAs are no longer being enforced. So
non-competes. That's what it was.
I'm sorry, non-competes. Non-competes. My apologies. Are not being enforced anymore. So at least these people are able to get picked up by other game studios and hopefully continue employment. But Tafari, any thoughts on Microsoft just sitting there going, "Whoops, we did it again"?
The tech sector is a mess, man. I should have majored in like accounting or something. I got into IT at the wrong time. Like I graduated right into like the tech recession. Jesus Christ. But they said some of the long-time like employees at Xbox is like it doesn't even feel like Xbox anymore. It feels like Microsoft Gaming. And I feel like if they didn't have competition, they would pull a Meta and just rebrand as that.
Yeah. But I do gotta agree with Joe though. I mean, I feel bad for Phil Spencer. I think he genuinely cares. He is a genuine one of us as far as being on the corporate side. He wants to be able to do things. I still say he did great strides with what they're doing with Game Pass. Because it took PlayStation 3 years to do what Game Pass did in 2, which is basically give us better quality. What are you gonna say, Joe?
They also just announced. This is on Twitter from Jason Schreier. God bless this man. He's doing the Lord's work with keeping us up to date on studio closures. Xbox is still not cutting costs, still isn't done cutting costs, and sent out a voluntary buyout offers to ZeniMax staff.
So ZeniMax on the chopping block. Well, that answered that question.
That very much sounds like get down or lay down.
Pretty much. When you hear voluntary buyouts, voluntary, it's the carrot, but then the stick. But again, I feel
we have an email. We have the Microsoft head of studios, Matt Booty, wrote in an email to staff saying, we are making these tough decisions to create capacity to increase investment in other parts of our portfolio and focus on our priority of other parts of our portfolio and focus our priorities on games. Not clear how many jobs will be lost.
You know, how am I going to say this very nicely? That's a weak ass excuse. It really is. If we consider the fact that Microsoft is what, $1 trillion company? I'm almost certain 3 trillion or so, somewhere in that ballpark. But the fact of the matter is, you can't sit there and say we're scaling back in order to refinance our investments. You're basically saying we're too big, so we're cutting off those we can get rid of. If you did, I'm like, let's be honest. If Redfall did, I'm sorry, do not cut you off, but if Redfall did, if Redfall did what Arcade Austin wanted them to do, Arcade Austin would be safe. If you really think about it, if the IP doesn't make enough money to justify being safe, it'll be axed. Even though, which I found weird, the same people that did the Evil Within 1, Evil Within 2, both actually did very well, but Tango Gameworks still gets shut down. But
Tango Games, I guarantee you, the acquisition of Tango Games was purely for Shinji Mikami, and then he immediately left. Even on Twitter, Shinji Mikami goes, "Her Tango Studio shut down. Sad." But again, this is a Japanese businessman who's been in this industry for a long time, so he looks at things very differently because Japanese business works different than American business. The biggest issue about stuff like this is this is not like Activision or EA buying up studios. This is one of the big three doing this. Yeah. That's what's terrifying, is that it's literally one of the big three now.
But that just goes to show you that you can be too big. But if you're going to expand that far as a company that you're taking on multiple gaming studios, you cannot say, and I think they acquired them sometime last year, if my memory serves me right. It's only been a year since those studio games have been acquired. So a year later, you now decide, oh, there's some things we just got to get rid of. That makes no sense outside of the fact that you didn't like the bottom line and you didn't give your investment that you're hoping, the return on your investment you were hoping for simply didn't work out. Just say that. Just literally say that. That's all we ask. But we need something interesting, and Safari did find this one as well.
Microsoft is successful.
Say what? I'm sorry, Joe. Say it one more time.
There's successful, and then there's Microsoft successful, apparently.
Oh yeah, well,
they've got to be in like a group chat with Warner Media at this point, because we killed Cartoon Network Studios and Funimation before their 30th birthday. Everyone is just that's the weird part about this year. A lot of long time like fan love stuff is just getting axed the next day.
It's almost villainy in a way. It's like, we're gonna take everything that you love from your childhood and kill it.
Like immediately. At least Funimation had like a. Go ahead.
Say what, Joe?
No. Keep going. I was gonna ask, can we spin off into that little tit for tat I had on Twitter with that one dude?
Did
that still go on more than what you showed us? Because I saw
Joe, send me that
I'm
after
still
this.
Getting likes on it.
Yeah, Joe, send me that link again so I can bring it up after this, because that was something else. But speaking of something else though, guys, I gotta get your opinion on this, because I kind of forgot, if it wasn't for Safari, I kind of forgot Multiverse was still around. And Multiverse has decided to include the Joker. And I'm just gonna play the trailer and let y'all guys just watch.
Batman, we have got to stop meeting like this. When do they get a load of me?
Now, I'm not gonna lie, I thought Multiverse had went the way into oblivion, but apparently it is coming back May 28th, free to play on all platforms, and you get to play as the Joker. I'm going to be honest, when Multiverse first came out, I thought it was pretty cool. A nice little smash for DC. I'm not against it. But is it? I'm just gonna ask, guys, and this is just me. Does this make y'all want to hop back in the multiverse, or just wave at it as it passes you by?
I might try it again because we're also in this weird era where your favorite game can technically be out, but not out for like 2 years because technically the game has been in beta this whole time, and now it's getting the official drop. So whatever cleaning they've needed from the 20,000 people that are left from that first million that played, has apparently played enough matches for them to get it together. So, and if it's free, at least I can see if they play their cards right with each DC movie or whatever that rolls out, movie, cartoon, James Gunn project, they can roll that into micro purchases or new characters coming in and make it fun and see what goes on. Because the last time I heard about this game was Space Jam 2 when they put LeBron in, who wasn't even voiced by LeBron.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to give it a shot. I just felt like they didn't really give Multiverse the shot they should have. And at the same time, does it? The fact that you're just introducing the Joker, and like you said, it was in a beta version this entire time. Like somewhere in Warner Brothers Gaming, in the Warner Brothers Gaming division, we didn't just give a spit shine and polish on this.
I feel like they have a team that cares. The problem is passing it to upper management and getting proper promotion because somebody probably had to fight for them not to just throw someone in there and make sure that it's Mark Hamill so that him and Kevin can keep fighting for as long as people want and live that out. Because now between that and Crisis 3 coming out, somewhat makes up for Suicide Squad being the last thing he did. Now we know he did 2 other things.
Yeah. But again, it's just I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of indifferent on that. And let us know in the comments what you guys think. Does it make you want to play Multiverse again now that the Joker is a playable character? I mean, it's not like Injustice where it's a little bit different. I don't know. But again, Joe, what about you? Any thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm still not going to play it, but I'm glad we get to have more Mark Hamill versus Kevin Conroy because, Mark Hamill only says he's willing to redo the Joker anytime Kevin's involved. And, Kevin can only be involved a finite number of times now. And so we don't know exactly how long his line of voice acting has been done at this point. Like, I don't even know if he's the recorded for Cape Crusader, or if he has like a small part in Cape Crusader. So great, he's here. I'm never gonna play that game. I don't have any interest in it, but more props to the quintessential Joker and Batman once again duking it out.
True. But I'll leave that out. Like I said before, I will try even the best shot. I hope for it just because, again, Warner Brothers tries to do something, and let's be honest, it's not always a good first step. But I got to switch to Marvel for 2 things. Because one, before I say this is a rumor. This has not been confirmed. This is not, take it with a grain of salt. But usually here on Get Bit, we don't usually follow a lot of rumors because, sometimes the source where it comes from is trashed or it's just too outlandish. But in this case, Marvel Studios, if you believe Marvel Studios, wants Dwayne Johnson to play the X-Men villain Apocalypse in the MCU. Now, again, this is a rumor. Dwayne, the Rock has, I keep on wanting to say Dwayne and The Rock, like they're 2 different people. The Rock and his group have not said anything. MCU, Kevin Feige, have not said anything. However, because this is gaining so much steam, this has to be asked. Is it possible?
I feel like with The Rock,
I can't wait for him to drop the mutant's elbow.
I'm not against it. I feel like just with Black Adam, just let him know this is a role and just don't make sure you have a director calling the shots. Because I was like Black Adam, The Rock just kept saying stuff and no one told him no, and that's what caused a lot of the fallout. Whereas this one, if you're gonna bring him into the role, make sure that he knows this is just a role. Don't build Rock into the X-Men. Don't build the X-Men around the Rock.
Don't let the Rock write the movie. I mean, like you repeating what you said so far. Don't let the Rock do anything except give him a lines and also give him a bathroom, because there's something with him in bottles and it's just so disgusting. I'd rather not repeat what he does. But anyway.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's beyond disgusting. I mean, you are worth millions, sir. You have a portable gym that goes wherever you want it to go, but yet a bathroom is, you know what? Anyway, I'm gonna be honest with you. As much as I love The Rock, I don't see it. I mean, Apocalypse is. I'm sorry, go Joe. Go ahead.
I feel like this is inappropriate casting. Not because Apocalypse is currently Egyptian and The Rock is not Egyptian. It's because I feel like Apocalypse is very much akin to Beast, where he needs to be a fully CG character to make him truly the Apocalypse we're all familiar with.
Yeah.
And if it were up to me, purely up to me, we've seen what happens when you do live action Apocalypse.
Right.
No slight to Oscar Isaacs. That man is a gem, and he is my Moon Knight. But I definitely would want to have the gentleman who was the Mummy for 2 movies, who is Egyptian, just come and do voice work, have them synth the crap out of it like they did in the old X-Men series and what they did for Oscar Isaacs when he was in Xavier's mind, and make Apocalypse a pure CGI character, like how Thanos was the majority of the films.
I mean, like whoever. I'm sorry. Whoever. I mean, my whole thing is just. Well, first and foremost, no. I'm sorry. I like The Rock. Respect the man as a wrestler. Respect the man and his Samoan bloodline. I have all the love in the world for him, for the fact that he is, I mean, he still is a successful action movie star. Let's call it what it is. However, yes. Black Adam should have really been a warning that, yes, you did promote the hell out of Black Adam. Yes, Under Armour and the whole merch deal. Yes, that all worked out very lucratively. But the fact that when you try to have a hand on the script and, you know, didn't have a hand in the comics, the fact that you just really took it a different direction, and then you kind of made yourself the front man of the DCU at the time, where the DCEU was dying. That to me was something that tells me that, Rock, you're a lot of things. A writer and director, you are not. But again, going into Apocalypse, no, I don't think you should do it. I mean, if it is offered to him, turn it down. There's other roles in the MCU that you can play that are a little bit more tailored to you. They are. There's some roles in the MCU.
Well, that's kind of the thing.
Go ahead.
That's kind of the thing. There's really not. If you think about it, the DC are all like statuesque, godlike men, and Marvel is just everyday people with powers. Like, everybody in DC's got to have like a 6-pack or an 8-pack where the Rock's body type fits that universe well. But the Marvel universe, like, anybody can do it. That's the difference.
Well, let's not also forget, though, the man, if he's had some roles where he wasn't always where he was, you know, always fit. Like, if you really begin, you remember Central Intelligence of Kevin Hart, where he was actually in the fat suit and it looked different, and the Tooth Fairy, where he was a little different there. I'm not saying the man can't act. He does have some acting chops, but the role of Apocalypse is where whoever you decide to do I'm not saying it's sacred. I'm not saying it's gatekeeping. I'm not saying that, you know, it has to be this person and nobody else. I just don't think The Rock should do it. I'm like, if I'm the PR guy for The Rock, I'm like, dude, pass.
All right. I will say it's gatekeeping, because we are so enamored with the line, I am as far beneath you as the humans are beneath you. Or I am as far above you as the humans are beneath you. We are so enamored with that apocalypse line. We are always going to be looking for somebody to carry that amount of gravitas,
Uh-huh.
threat, and respect. And it's that person just has not been found.
Well, but again, that's the problem. We keep on going to this. We keep on going back to the crop of current actors, and just like James Gunn said, I mean, he had to go outside. He had to go outside the box. You had to go outside the box of known actors and find somebody raw and different, and see if they fit the role. It can be done with Apocalypse. I truly believe that. But like I said, if I'm The Rock, or if I'm the PR guy for The Rock, or if I'm The Rock's right-hand guy, I'm sorry, pass on this. Wait for Expendables 5 or something, but pass on this. But Tafari, you got any work? You got anything on this?
No, I just feel like they just got to find the right role. If it is Apocalypse, you could use him for. You know what only makes you say he could do a decent Apocalypse? If we do the kind of like Egypt part, like when they took his powers and showed his past in Black Adam, he kind of, for me, he kind of sold me on the being part of the underprivileged like slave class. So if they were to do the Egyptian thing, I could see him doing that again and just being something different, because that part he at least sold me on. And I'm like, I can kind of see him doing that in a Marvel-esque lens. But yes, once he's Apocalypse, CGI it. Hey, here's your direction. Don't let him tell y'all what to do. Just understand he is here for this role. He is not over the whole film.
And that's the thing I'm getting at. But also to keep it Marvel, because again, this is not a rumor. This has actually been confirmed. But again, this lets me know that Apple pays a lot of money to get things exclusive. And what I mean by that is Marvel Studios is doing a what if, an immersive story, which is the first interactive Disney Plus original story, but it's only coming to that Apple Vision Pro. For all those that remember, it's that freaking VR system that Apple put out that's almost $400. Now, keep in mind, just a week ago, we showed a game that was Batman Arkham Shadow, to which Tafari gave us a lovely skit. Go to Tafari TV to check it out, where he literally sat there and pretty much did what we all did when we saw Batman Arkham Shadow. It was cool. It looked great. Only on Apple Vision Pro. Why? And again, I'm not saying VR isn't great. VR has its uses. It really does. It's not a completely dead technology, but at the same time, if you're going to give us an original what if story, when we've all seen What If season 1 and now season 2, which have been great. If you haven't seen them, go on Disney Plus, definitely check them out, because season 3 is going to be awesome when that comes out. But the fact of the matter is, not everybody has Apple. I mean, I'm going to be an Android till they put me in the grave. But at the same time, not everybody has Apple Vision Pro. Let's be honest, times is tight. Nobody can drop $400 on the same thing that you can get in a different VR system. But because it is Apple Vision Pro exclusive, a lot of us will be locked out of probably seeing this, unless, those on the grand line can make it work to where we can see it on regular screens. You know what I'm talking about. But fellas, I got to ask, are we seeing a trend with exclusive items, especially from the MCU, going to things like Apple Vision Pro, or dare I say Microsoft?
Whoever has a Let's Play channel with VR stuff, you got it. All 5 of y'all with an Apple Vision Pro, by all means.
Hey, Elizabeth.
Hey, Lizzie. Because, I don't think VR is at a place where you can take big names and make them exclusives. Like, I'm not buying an Apple Vision Pro for this.
Right. Joe? It's his head.
I am not an Apple supporter. I hate using iPhones at work. They are constantly breaking down, and we're having trouble with them. So the only thing that interests me out of this whole thing was the Captain Marvel looking like Nova. That was it. BD Wong coming back for Wong. So, great. out of all 16 of those characters, I'm interested in 2.
I'm just how can it be very nice?
This will be on
Like,
Disney Plus by the end of the year.
I would like to think so, but just because here's the reason why I say that is because they're remaining exclusive. That's the big thing. And I'm like, the fact that you're only exclusive for 2 reasons. Number one, you're doing it to promote a product. Number two, you're trying to direct people to buy said product, and therefore you're trying to drive sales. I'm sorry, but when you made a VR system twice the price of a Meta or a Oculus, which I think Oculus is like $240, $300, and I think Meta's probably the same price range, not people can afford that. So pretty much people are going to be out. So this is why I say I think outside of Marvel, if you believe the rumors of The Rock getting casted as Apocalypse, and if you, again, with a what if story that really should be on Disney Plus first before you put it on Apple Pro. I mean, that's just me. You should put it out there for everybody that doesn't have Apple Pro to see it. And if you still want to make the Apple Pro, put it down there. You've done it for everything else, so why not do it for this? But I digress on that. But Joe, sir, you got popular on Twitter, and I say popular because as I put this up, Joe, would you like to explain what happened?
So Jason Schreier, again, I love following this man on Twitter. I've listened to his podcast, Triple Click. Very well-informed gentleman. He's the video game reviewer for Bloomberg. I've read all of his books. Put on there that Warner Brothers Discovery earning calls this morning. David Zaslav said the third quarter's financial stock took a hit due to disappointing release of Suicide Squad news game, which he also decided David Zaslav give himself a raise during this. And then Dante O'Connell, which I've yet to figure out if he was being facetious or not on this. But still, I took the cue. Said, well, of course it failed. It was woke as hell. And then I put what I put, which was, I guess woke now means repetitive gameplay, poor design choices with character powers and equipment, and the use of an unwanted battle pass for increased monetary gain. Good to know.
I felt like it was a clapback, but I'm proud. I'm proud. Oh, but yeah, that's the thing I want to point out because it's already I'm gonna like that just because of what it is. But no, it's the whole. It kind of goes back into what we were talking about. The fact that even though it's not Microsoft, it's Warner Brothers, and let's be honest, Zaslav. I'm not going to worry about pronouncing your name, sir. That's how much I don't care about you. I pretty much think you're just there to destroy Warner Brothers. I think you're there to break it off into multiple pieces and sell off what you can to the highest bidder. That's just me. And the fact that you're saying that your quarter financials took a hit because of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. No. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, when we first saw it, which, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong here, we saw it 2 years ago, right? When it first came out.
So 2 years ago, and I immediately looked at that, and I remember it's like, oh, this is just going to be a really bland looty shooty, isn't it?
Yeah. So 2 years ago, we sat there and saw this, and don't get me wrong. Initially, when it first came out, it was a great idea. It was a little bit different for something that Rocksteady was doing that wasn't Batman related or Arkham series related, but you're giving us something different. And for all those that have been following our podcast, we did cover when they did release demos of it, when they released more trailers of it. And then they tried to make it live service, and everybody hated that. Then you found out that everybody had guns, which was still weird considering, but everybody didn't like that either. And then we didn't like the fact that you still somehow wanted to include Joker in this Kill the Suicide Squad story, which again, to everybody's chagrin, they didn't like that. So what happened at release date? Well, release date, if memory serves me right, it was buggy. People that actually purchased the digital game couldn't play it. At the same time, the problems were never fixed to the point where people were actually getting refunds back. And then barely a month after the game was released, you're already offering discounts, trying to save it. So I'm sorry, Mr. Zaslav. your financials are not taking a hit because of one game. Your financials are taking a hit because you ran Warner Brothers into the ground. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, fellas. That's just me.
Yeah, because once again, the game was so bad that
So the
Rocksteady.
go ahead, Tapari.
I was saying the game was so bad, Rocksteady didn't want to be Rocksteady anymore. It very much felt like, hey, we're making this game. It felt like they got pulled into making the game, and last minute Rocksteady was told, by the way, we're making this like an extension of your thing. Because then Rocksteady got quiet, people just slowly started falling off the staff, and then they just dismantled. And I'm like, and you have the nerve to release another Arkham game from a company that doesn't exist anymore, and it's a VR exclusive. And on top of that, it's just the most explanation you get is this like paper museum tour you go on that bridges Arkham Knight to right now, which is like we just annoyed Batman until he said yes. And just the legacy ruined.
Pretty much. What you gonna say, Joe?
So if you go into the tweet a little more, Jason Schreier actually asked us like, so why are you calling it woke? Because like because they killed Batman in the weakest way possible. And then Jason Schreier just street tweets being woke, it's woke because being woke is killing Batman.
Just wow.
Which I thought was hilarious.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It was definitely interesting. And again, Joe finds a way to basically say it in the nicest way. Because I know if I say it, it's going to come out every way, which way, but wrong and hurtful and petty. But again, it makes sense. You cannot. I mean,
look, if it was up to me and I was still following it afterwards, I would have told him it's like it can't be any weaker than being shot in the shower during a home invasion, like Earth 2 Batman, which is why there is no Earth 2 Batman.
Right.
I mean, he technically got shot in his own Batcave, which apparently Robin wasn't able to make it out of there, but the Suicide Squad is able to go in and just mental reverse gymnastics, enhanced fear toxin, and just bang bang shoot up the man who took down the Arkham Knight by himself.
Right. Which is still weird, but it's interesting. But speaking of interesting, because again, like I said, we do have a couple more trailers. I did want to get to this one because Sega, outside of just giving us a new console or just reviving the Dreamcast, you give us wonderful gems like this that, you know what, make me think that you guys need to go back to making consoles. What am I talking about? Have you ever wanted to play a 32-player game, including Sonic, that basically makes Mario Party look like shenanigans? That's Sonic Rumble. And again, Sega did it right. Okay, it's a very quick trailer. So yes, Sonic Rumble, which is available this winter, already looks beautiful. At the same time, you can play up to 32 players. Now, that's the one thing I am a little bit concerned about, but it's Sega. Sega usually doesn't have any problems on this front with Sonic. And also, correct me if I'm wrong, Tafari, is the beta still open for this?
They're taking applications. They can't play the game yet. They're just taking signups. And I only found it because I looked it up and found somebody on LinkedIn. And that's the most use I've gotten out of the platform in like 4 years. I will say, though, I frame rates looked a little all over the place, but the concept is good. It's been like 20 years since we've made a Sonic Shuffle game, and that was the last like party thing that we did for the Dreamcast. So Sonic, they're trying a lot of new stuff. This is like there's an IHOP contest, which I apparently won something from that. We'll see, but
nice.
Sonic is doing everything except a partnership with the company that's named after them and serves their character's favorite food, so I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm here for it as well. But Joe, what do you think? Oh, if you're gonna say something, Joe, you're muted.
Oh no, I got it. No, I got it. I am muted. Looks fun. 32 player thing kind of reminds me of like Fall Guys, but with Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind giving it a shot, but that would take time away from democracy, and I just don't have time for that.
Democracy. Oh, I gotta get back. I gotta get back to playing that. But no, I'm with that. I mean, like I said, it looks
I'm on
great.
level 7 missions. It's just like watching.
Say that one more time, Joe.
Said I'm on level 7 missions. Every time I come down, I'm immediately swarmed by Bio Titans and Chargers. Every time,
Oh, you're
like right out the gate.
I feel bad for your fire team, Jesus. But no, it looks like it's cool. With Sonic coming out, it does look good. No release date as of yet. However, as Tafari said, they are taking applications for beta. So who knew LinkedIn would be that freaking helpful? Even though it should be helping get jobs, but I digress. Anyway, Nintendo did announce that we will be seeing a Switch successor. Now, again, everybody's been calling it the Switch 2. Nintendo has not officially called it the Switch 2, but just for saving what it is, it's just been coded named that. They have not announced anything outside of the fact that it will be within this fiscal year. That we'll find out more information on it. No details have been given out about it, whether it's got backwards compatibility, whether the Joy-Cons be magnetic. Nothing has been said about this new console from Nintendo. So, fellas, really quickly, should we be hyped about the Switch, or should we wait until more information comes out?
I need more info because I feel like whatever this is, I feel like they're going to try to find a way to bridge the gap and be, it's not necessarily a Switch 2, but here's what you thought the OLED was going to be. And it will have, I feel like this could be the Wii Motion Plus, but Switch edition, because I'm curious, is it going to be required to play what games are coming, or will it let you play a HD upgraded version of games that are already out? And that's what I'm curious about.
That'll be interesting. That part right there will be interesting as far as what editions, because I'm a little bit worried. Like I said, Nintendo, the only thing I worry about Nintendo is as long as you're not an emulator, they don't usually go after you. But when you try to bring joy and happiness to people by doing emulators, they like to throw their cease and desist letters out from wherever they can. But I'm with you on that. It's one of those things I just wait until more information comes out, because let's be honest, we've all had a wish list on what the Switch would do. We would love the Switch be backwards compatible, because I'm gonna be honest, there are some games that were on the Nintendo Wii and Wii U that are not available in the virtual channel yet. And I say yet because who knows when Nintendo may or may not do it. But at the same time, I really hope that there's not any type of restrictions, whether as you need to be online or you have to have a certain file or region. I'm hoping none of those things will happen. But again, we'll see depending on when Nintendo makes this announcement. But Joe, what do you think?
Well, the fiscal year runs from April to April, so we probably won't be seeing this thing until April 2025.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I could probably give you the best release date is whenever the Pokemon A to Z Pokemon Legends game comes out. Because if we remember when we looked at that, it said the Switch family consoles, meaning this is going to be designed to go out on the Switch too. So I would say Pokemon Legends A to Z is going to be the launch title for this new Switch 2 or Switch Pro. So be on the lookout there. I hope to God they have backwards compatibility on everything, because I have a fair amount of Japanese games on mine.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they're not stupid enough to region lock this system after having some mild success with not region locking their consoles anymore.
Right.
It'll be. Other than that, just like Tafari, more information on everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with y'all on that as well. It's just that, you would think if Nintendo's going to start and announce something like that, it'll be like, hey, this is what you can expect on whatever we name this console. That would be freaking nice. But again, without giving us any details except saying we're going to talk about it sometime within the fiscal year, but we're not sure when, but we'll let you know. That doesn't help Nintendo fans like us at all. But
that's where they're going to launch the Twilight Princess HD port.
Oh, you know, see that
we'll probably hear about it during the fall or winter direct.
Well, Nintendo's gonna have
so
to
my guess is the formal announcement. Sorry.
No, I was just saying Nintendo's gonna have to compete with whatever Xbox or Sony throws out. But what were you gonna say? Because I can't see Nintendo.
My guess is that they will make the formal announcement at not E3, and then from there, we will only get the announcement and probably the name. It's like, hey, here it is. It's called this. Further information due out later this year, and then we'll get information doled out in the fall, and then the winter. We'll get information in the fall. We'll probably get a release date in the winter direct, and then the release in the spring.
I just hope that it better be a hell of a presentation. That's all I can sit there and say with Nintendo, because again, you're going to say something like that and leave a lot of people hanging. That's saying a lot. But speaking of things that are saying a lot, and all of my trailers decided to play before I even get started. I apologize. So it always messes up my intro when I do this. So anyway, also with Disney Plus with Star Wars, the Acolyte is coming out, so we did get an updated trailer. I'm especially excited for this. And I know our podcast brethren, Lady Mandalore, Kira, and Lady Geek by Heart, I know they're excited about this. I'm excited about this too, because for the first time in a long time, I have no idea what the series is about. But here's the trailer.
Last night, a Jedi was murdered.
The Jedi justify their galactic dominance in the name of peace. But that peace is a lie.
Jedi are being hunted.
She was my student. I trained her. Let me be the one to bring her in.
I sense this is only a small part of a larger plan. Some sort of shift to tip the scales. It's time to face the past. Destiny is not decided for you by an anonymous force. If you want to pull the thread and change everything, then pull it.
What are you?
All I can say is I'm interested. That, guys, was the Acolyte on Disney Plus. As you guys can see, it does have a 2-episode premiere come June the 4th. And like I said, this is the first time in a long time. I have no idea what this is about, but I want to watch it. But guys, any thoughts on this?
I like that we are going to hand-to-hand combat in a lightsaber world, because we have not done this since Mace Windu had to fight an army of droids after losing his lightsaber in 2003. So I'm curious to see what Jedi fight choreography is like, and how we lost it over generations.
All I can sit there and say is I hope they learn from Iron Fist. That's all I'm hoping they learn from Iron Fist, and it looks like from the trailer they actually have it. That fight choreography looks great. But I'm definitely watching it. Like, again, it was told to me that this was 100. I mean, from Geek by Heart and Lady Mandalore, they did explain it on Blurred's Eye View. They said the story was 100 years before
Phantom Menace, I
yeah, it
believe.
was 100 years before the Phantom Menace. Thank you. So again, this to me is unknown territory, and I love that because for Tafari, Joe, and myself, we usually do have a lot of background knowledge on the things that are coming out or things that are being produced. And yeah, we do, because of that background knowledge, we expect some certain homework to be done, especially on X-Men 97, which we'll get to very shortly, because if you did your homework that Mr. Bo put out, wow. But no, because for me, because I have zero idea about what the Acolyte's going to be about, I can actually approach this the same way that a lot of people are approaching Star Wars that have never seen it. You see a show that looks interesting, that has Jedi, that has hand-to-hand combat, which again, like Tafari said, you don't really see a lot of it or next to nothing of it in a Star Wars movie. So it's intriguing. And again, makes me want to watch it. But guys, anything else you want to add to that? Joe looks deep in thought.
No, I couldn't hear you. Like, we're glitching out super bad on my end.
I was gonna say we all just need to hit refresh really fast.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Yeah. We can try it.
All right. Well, Joe was giving his rebuttal.
Yeah.
Ninja Smoke.
Okay. So while they come back in, because for all those that are still watching, let us know, because it could be the fact that Zuckerberg doesn't like us. But again, let's see. All right, Tafari, how do you sound?
I'm good. I know we're 3 different internet connections here, so.
All right, let me try Joe. All right, Joe, how does it sound? Uh-oh.
They're refreshing. It did nothing.
Well.
We tried.
Okay,
we
so
tried.
anyways,
we'll make it work.
I'm in total agreement with you guys. I have no idea what's going on. Also, I was not aware there was a second CGI series that debuted like the day Bad Batch ended. I was not aware of Tales of the Empire dropping like day and date the Bad Batch final season came out. So we have a secret Star Wars surprise we're of, because it wasn't really promoted. Covering Will's face.
That's a good question. I don't know, Tafari.
It was promoted, but it was on the list of many things that no one talked about because of Kendrick. And
was it the weekend of the K. Infinite?
It was on the list. It was on the list of things that no one talked about because Kendrick and Aubrey's Angels were going back and forth all week. So Star Wars Day, Free Comic Book Day.
I'm glad they used their words.
Oh, that was the infinite cycle. That was the infinite dream that K. just sat there and said, you know what? Let's go ahead and just put the world in darkness for about a good 48 hours. That'll make sense.
Domain expansion, lyrical lashes. So yeah, it was there. A lot of stuff happened last week, like Tom Brady's roast.
Someone even asked me about it, and all I had for them is like, I'm glad they're using their words.
Well,
they were so recently. Somebody got shot.
So recently it was, but no, but it seems like with the Acolyte, we're all looking forward to it. So definitely good stuff there. So before we get to the next couple of trailers, we do have some fantastic forecasting news. Starting off with one of the legends, John Malkovich, will be making his MCU debut with the Fantastic Four, which kind of blows my theory out of the water a little bit because beforehand, Paul Hauser, which is also the guy that's on Cobra Kai and other shows, he also has been casted in the Fantastic Four. And when he got casted, I was like, okay, he's Mole Man. However, as Joe has pointed out, now that John Malkovich has now signed on to Fantastic Four, more than likely, and this is a guess, this is not confirmed, he might be playing Mole Man. So What do we think, fellas? I mean, John Malkovich, the man's got hella roles. And I'm sorry, what are you gonna say, Joe? Why are you shaking your head?
Nope.
Three.
Nope. It is.
Uh-oh.
3,
I
4,
think.
5, 6.
Say it again, Joe. We didn't hear a word you said.
I'm trying to get a sync here. Work with me. I said, nope, I think I know exactly who John Malkovich is.
Okay, boom. Uh-oh.
I think it's the Puppet Master.
Ooh. That would be interesting. I mean, I can see him being the Puppet Master, and I wouldn't be against it. That is interesting, because I had him picked for Mole Man, but like I said, we don't actually, like I said, he secured a role much like Giancarlo Esposito last week. We don't know what he's playing, but again, we got a good idea of who. But again, John Malkovich, I mean, yeah, Puppet Master, my money's still on Mole Man, just because it's right around late 60s, early 70s, which makes me think you want to stick with the villains at that time. But Tafari, any guesses on your side?
I have no idea. I just know this man is unserious in every role I've seen him in. So if it's something kooky, it could be Puppet Master. And Puppet Master is normally like a relative of Thing's girlfriend, or at least the last iteration I saw of him was, isn't it?
Yeah.
That if we tie them in,
he is the Thing's father-in-law. Yes, he is Thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Father-in-law.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be. I mean, like I said, if it is cool, can't knock that. But the other casting that we do know this for a fact. Ralph Ineson. I apologize if that is not your name, sir. He has been casted as Galactus. So we do know in the Fantastic Four who will actually be voicing the legendary villain of the MCU. If you don't remember him, he was also in Game of Thrones. He actually played what was he? Afraid Man? Was he? No, he wasn't Baratheon. He was a Bolton. There we go. Yeah, he played one of the Boltons in Game of Thrones. But again, not knocking it. I think he'll knock it out of the park as Galactus. But guys, what do you think?
I'm not too familiar with him, but I'm just curious to see how they do Galactus this time, because last time he was like a giant smoke monster.
Yeah. Let me leave that alone. I hope they'll give it due justice, because again, with the MCU going Fantastic Four and eventually bringing the X-Men to the movie side of things, I want to say it's going to be a complete revamp. Obviously, it might be some slight CGI, but I think they'll get it right, because they still have a lot of time to actually get this down again, because production hasn't started yet. I think they'll get it right. I think that if not, also, fun fact, we also know that they don't get this right, and we see a trailer of this, we can just bully them to get it right the first time. I mean, let's be honest. The internet has a track record of bullying something to get it right. Don't believe me? Look at Sonic. That's all I'm saying. Sonic came out, and the entire internet in one whole voice said no. And immediately that got fixed. But I don't know. It does look like it'll be great. I'm not mad about those castings. But Joe, Tafari, anything you can add to that outside of hoping to see Galactus as we hope to see him? Because I do think it'll be partly CGI. But again,
no,
you can get the right direction and practical application to Galactus. At least that's what I think.
I have a feeling we'll be just fine with him, because Marvel's made it a point to make stuff as comic book accurate. So I have very, very little doubt in my mind that he will not be the giant purple planet eater that we all know and love. I guarantee you he will not be a cloud, which is also station wave like it was last time we tried him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, much like Tafari, I don't know much about this guy's work. I didn't watch Game of Thrones past season 1, so I'm hoping for good things.
made it farther than I did.
Right.
Yeah, I hope if we can get even like the way they did what am I trying to say? Jamie Foxx as Electro, where we got the one little quick shot of his original face.
Yeah.
As long as they give us something that lets us know, hey, there's source material being used here, and this is the direction we're going. I need at least one shot of a comic book accurate him, at least. Because I don't know if this is setting up. It'll set up for a second movie, but I know it's at least going to tie them into whatever else is about to happen. So if we're gonna and done Galactus, or we'll ever see him again in who knows, whatever Eternals or whatever else comes up interspace wise, I would like to at least get one good shot of that.
I think we will. But also, speaking of other things, like I said, got a couple more trailers before we get to our X-Men review because, a lot's happened. But Mortal Kombat 1 did release a teaser trailer for Homelander. Before I play this, I know it's Mortal Kombat 1, which means the trailers are usually bloody. However, this is a 10-second trailer, and it's still bloody.
You have chosen war with a god. No, you have.
Well, truly quick and to the point. But as you can see, guys, that was the teaser trailer for Homelander, which has yet to be announced when that's going to be released for the Combat Pack. The only thing I could say about this is just the fact of usually when they've had Quan Chi, Ermac, Omni-Man, Peacemaker, usually when they've been released, we saw a little bit more fighting from a fighting standpoint of how Homelander will fight. How each of those characters will fight. The fact that we only got like 20 seconds of Homelander and possible 2 fatalities, should we be a little bit worried, or the fact that more should just wait for an actual fighting trailer with Homelander to come out? Like,
I think it's a first look. It was called like a first look, so it's not the full rollout. I think we're gonna get another because they had one of those for They had one before
really.
Yeah, I think because I remember not Homelander, Omni-Man had a teaser, and then at the end of his, they put what is the dude's name? I'm trying to John Cena's character. I'm blanking on the name.
Peacemaker.
Yeah, they put Peacemaker at the end of Omni-Man's trailer, and we didn't see him for God knows how long.
Right.
But this is just a first look, so I like it. Is it Shadow or Echo Fighter, the little crawling person from Mortal Kombat 10, all grown up?
Yep. Weird, ain't it? It's a little bit different, ain't it?
I mean, clearly the kid's growing up. I don't know. There's some characters that they just feel like they just abandoned after X. Like, it felt weird that like Baraka was like a stage boss in one of them and just not a playable character.
That I never understood since Baraka was very popular. You would think like the more like there was one time, and not to get to a tangent, there was one time there was like a kind of a campaign to put Stryker back in the game. Like Stryker from Ultimate 3. That's why I was like, I mean, some people like playing Stryker. You want to play a cop that beats up people, that's on you. But yeah, like I said, it was like, don't get me wrong. Love that Homelander's going to be in it. I just want to actually see a little more gameplay. But as Joe had pointed out, I think we need one more fatality than we would have planes, trains, and automobiles. Which I give Joe credit for that one because he sat there. The more I thought about that, I'm like, dang, we do have a train. There is a train fatality. There is a plane fatality. We're missing a car. We're missing a car. We have the trifecta. But again, looking forward to it. The last show that we do got, guys, before we get to X-Men, of course, because it's Homelander, it's like I think these both occurred on the same day now that I think about it. With the Homelander reveal on MK1, The Boys Season 4 trailer has dropped. And again, I'm going to stress this very heavily. It is The Boys.
Violence.
On Amazon Prime. It, again, bloody, gory, you've been warned.
I look back at my life, and all I see are the messes I made. And I ain't got time to fix it. I can do one thing right with the time I got left. I can't do it alone. I can't do it without you.
This country is corrupt beyond repair. So we got to save it.
Friends, you better think again.
It's not going to be easy. We'll have to do some terrible things for the greater good. You'll no longer be beloved celebrities.
But the good in the fewest of ways.
You will be wrathful gods. Show me a little wrath.
That doesn't sound good, Ashley. Oh, yeah, no shit, Ashley. Sorry, Ashley.
The whole world is about to burn. We need someone like you, Billy, before the Soups start rounding us up and dumping us off in camps.
I have found the answer to all our prayers. A virus that kills Soups.
This is insane and desperate, even for you.
Well, insanely desperate's where we are, don't you think, love?
Let's go. Chop chop, motherfuckers.
This is a biblical war, good versus evil. And I'm declaring hunting season on Star Ladders.
I can't believe this is fucking happening to me again.
Look, we've all done bad shit. What's insane is that our solution to every problem is murder. Violence isn't brave.
Violence is power.
That's the spirit, champ. Who wants a creamy, delicious milkshake?
If we're ever gonna win against monsters, we need to start acting human.
You're all fucking welcome.
All I can say is, Eric Kripke, you freaking genius. That was The Boys Season 4 trailer. As you guys can see, will be on Amazon Prime June 13th. All I can say is, as a person that's read The Boys, again, if you haven't read the graphic novel, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. If you're old enough to read the graphic novel, you should. Kids, I know we say a lot of times, we say a lot of times in the show, there are certain things that you should be reading. Wait till you're a little bit older to read The Boys. That's all I'm saying. But as far as I know, you watch it. Outside of Billy, which it looks like he's run on limited time because of what happened of the V he was taking back in season 3. So everybody keeps thinking this is the final season. It's really not. The Boys.
I feel like shows have adopted calling it the final season when it's the final season. I think they said they have one more after this, but they're clearly setting up for, I believe, endgame material because it's getting real January 6th all over America. And then we've got, I feel like we're getting semi-comic book accurate because we've got Black Noir back somehow, but we don't know who's under the hood or if that is the person we thought it was the first time.
I'm holding that one to the chest until I see that episode because I have a theory about Black Noir, and if I'm right, I'm gonna be screaming my head off like I knew it, I freaking knew it. But no, it's what else can we say? Because outside of the fact that Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and again, shout out to Chris Fury at Blurred's Eye View for calling this. We almost have the supernatural trifecta. We almost do because we already have Jensen Ackles. We already have Jeffrey Dean Morgan. We just need Jared Padalecki. And let's be honest, Mr. Jared, we know you're not doing anything right now outside of Walker, Texas Ranger. I'm just saying, come on over. Let's play Wayward Sons one more time. That's all I'm saying. The only thing I'm disappointed about is that when Jeffrey D. Morgan first got casted, I thought he would be Tech Knight. I was like, perfect for Tech Knight, and then Tech Knight's no longer with us. So
Gen V wrap that up, which I guess that's we're seeing the Gen V payoff with the superhero disease, but I'm curious how that plays out because last time we saw it, it was with old girl with the head explosions, which I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see how we get around her at all this season.
But you know what I think it'll be, and I say it because the last part of Gen V, which again, if you haven't seen Gen V, you definitely should. Highly recommend it. It's a great show because it does kind of stay within the world of the boys. But if you haven't seen it, definitely do that. But yeah, it's I think old girl from Gen V is going to be the key to stopping Head Popper.
The Lady Bloodsport.
Yeah, I think she's the key to stopping her. I think because of her ability, I think she is the key to stopping her. Because all she does is pop heads, but old girl just realizes about her powers. It's like, you can do a lot more than just, use blood and just formulate it as a weapon. You can go a little bit farther than that. And I'm like, you're basically, I was like, and the same person that's telling her that you can do this is the same person that's going around just popping people's heads off. You're basically creating your own kryptonite is what you're doing. But yeah, it just, like I said, it looks great. Anthony Starr, which also I meant to say is back in the Mortal Kombat trailer. Anthony Starr is actually voicing himself in Homelander, so that's actually him.
Okay, because he was turning into Homelander the more people kept asking.
Yeah. I mean, of course, it was kind of funny when they're like, well, are you voicing yourself on Mortal Kombat 1? Well, we don't know yet. Yep, you are. Because John Cena's voicing himself. So, again, that's not surprising. But again, with the boys, season 4 starts June 13th. So, not too far off, guys, in that well that we can go to. But let's go ahead and cover what everybody else is, because, again, we are going to go into X-Men episode 9, Tolerance is Extinction Part 2. Before we get started, we are going to talk about it in its detail. If you have not seen X-Men episode 9, you might want to mute us for the next couple of minutes because we are going into full details, just because of the fact a lot happened. Joe, I'm going to start with you because I believe you said that you have some theories about this.
Nothing happened.
Really, nothing happened.
Okay, it was a whole
episode. There's nothing but like they found Krakoa and butterflies and rainbows happened. That was all that episode was. Nothing happened.
Oh, right. Butterflies and rainbows.
Okay, so yes.
But no.
I've noticed a lot of things in this episode. I just basically rewatched this and was like, oh, this whole episode is nothing but foreshadowing. Hilarious foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
Next episode, we're getting the Phoenix. If you don't know what happens what Charles does immediately after what happened to Wolverine, you don't apparently never read the comics in the 90s because he is coming. He will be our main antagonist in season 2.
Oh, we can say
you don't know who he is. I can't help you. I'm not spoiling that one.
Oh no, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it because it was so funny. It immediately popped up. It immediately popped up on Twitter when it came out. But go ahead.
What? It immediately popped up that Onslaught's going to be the Onslaught's coming.
All the two biggest Google searches that came out after episode 9: who's Onslaught, who's Feral Wolverine. So, and
who's the Wolverine without the nose?
Yeah, but also let me shout out Mr. Bo. Sir, I know you can't say nothing right now, although I'm pretty sure your job is back. I'm pretty sure because the season that you gave us so far in X-Men 97 is really, really good. And the fact that if you have been paying attention, and Tafari posted it on his, as well as on Tafari TV, as well as on Blurred's Eye, Bo gave you homework. again, if you want to get prepared for episode 9, he gave you homework. One of those things of homework was a certain issue of X-Men called Fatal Attraction. The fact that, if you read that, you would have saw why Rogue acted the way she did and why Wolverine, looked the way he did. But again, just to start this off, this is the assault to basically stop Magneto, because right now Magneto is not too happy, which you can't blame him. The man tried to go Charles's route. He tried to be a man of peace. It didn't work out. He saw a mutant get liquidated right before his eyes, and he's simply saying no more. To the point to where he even went back to the mansion, which Charles is waking up and realizing he no longer has his legs. What'd you call it? What'd you call it, Tafari? Deathbird repossessed the legs.
Yeah, because the fact that he's down to his regular wheelchair and not his hover chair and can't even maneuver around his own house.
That's still in shambles. And yet Magneto does approach the X-Men and pretty much sat there and says,
that's not his house anymore.
Yeah. And it's funny where, the whole conversation first between him and Scott, where it's like, of all people, you gave everything to him? Of all people? And of course, Charles being the ever so pacifist, well, I was hoping that it would change Magneto for the better. And I clearly was wrong about that. Yeah, no kidding, Sherlock. To the point to where, Scott isn't too happy, but Magneto shows up and says, I'm going to basically decide to 86 the world, and you can join me or you can be against me. To where, again, if you read Fatal Attraction, it wasn't shocking about Rogue. Keep in mind, Rogue ended Trask like last episode, although you really can't blame her because, as Tafari again pointed this out on Blurred's Eye View, 3 other people who had the ability to save this man from falling did nothing. Nightcrawler, of all people, who in a split second could have saved Trask, did nothing. And it's amazing where Rogue was like, I've had it. I'm done with it. We tried this route. It didn't work. I lost Remy. I'm joining Magneto, which again, to Storm's surprise, she's like, and then Tafari, I gotta give you this one because you gotta explain this because you did this eloquently, because when Storm tried to sit there and reason with Rogue decided to roast the entire group in one shot.
Yeah, basically went off of how Jeans died multiple times. Morph got 86 like in the second episode of the show. Right. And then there's the fact that Storm has been gone this whole time. Nobody knows where Bishop is, which I'm glad that we didn't just forget about him, because even I was like, Bishop was kind of OP for like an episode and a half, and then we just kind of sent him into the portal, and he's probably just in the time stream with that Kang variant still, and doing all of this while wearing Remy's coat.
Right. And at the same time, just eviscerate the crowd. Now, again, this does lead into where we do see the assaults at 2 different places. Of course, Forge and Storm are trying to stave off the Sentinels outside, while the rest of the team goes in to try to stop Magneto. Don't get me wrong, I love what the whole Storm
as far as the Fox movies.
Say what?
I do like that we take a shot at the Fox movies.
Oh yeah,
I like that Cable is now in his MVC2 outfit. I am still mad he did not do his Hyper Viper beam. He had one job in this thing. One job. One Hyper Viper beam.
Oh yeah, I will say that line was cool. It's like, what do you expect, black leather? That was pretty funny. Although it was a shot to the Bryan Singer directed X-Men. But as we see the group does approach Magneto, Wolverine was like, man, gotta go. Wolverine at this point was like, you can't reason with Magneto, which was funny because as he approached, Rogue knew off the bat, Wolverine was like, I'm not here to talk. I'm just here to end him. In which to where Rogue herself got taken out. Wolverine is staying more trying to attack. Cyclops trying to attack. Charles is sitting there saying, knock his helmet off to where he can get control. Now, keep in mind, the other part of the team is still dealing with Bastion. At the same time, which kills me, that you had Jean and Cable, where Cable unfortunately had that little bit of programming from Mr. Sinister, decided to kick in and attack Jean. And fellas, I know I said this on Blurred's Eye View. I'm gonna say it here. During that fight where Jean had reached out to Scott and the helmet was off Magneto, Charles was like saying, "Forgive me. I have to stop him. He's not going to stop himself. I'm going to take over his body and reverse the damage." So as literally the helmet is off, Charles has possession of Magneto. Scott decides to blast Xavier and say they need more time. I'm going to pose this out here. Cyclops just pulled a Star-Lord and nobody said nothing.
That was my whole thing with the entire ship. They just...
It's Scott.
I'm just going to point this out. You had Magneto. All Charles needed was to take over Magneto without the helmet. He could have reversed the entire thing was happening to the Earth. At the same time, did what had to be done with Magneto. But you pulled a Star-Lord and fired at Charles and said the others need more time.
So I think what he was trying to...
To be fair, that is actually correct. If he reverses what he does, then all these sleeper sentinels come back online and all swarm over the island. Cyclops was absolutely correct in what he did.
But that's a hell of a gamble because we saw what happened afterwards. See, that's where this is where I'm going to lean on. This is where I'm going to go to you, Joe, momentarily, because as we saw what happened, he did blast Charles. They put Magneto's helmet on Charles. So now he's immobilized, which I didn't know you could do. That was new to me. Putting Magneto's helmet on Charles apparently immobilized him somehow. And on top of that, Wolverine gets close enough to finally do what we thought was going to happen, which it's interesting because they did kind of pull a little bit from the Bryan Singer X-Men, where if you notice, Wolverine, got behind Magneto, clawed him through his chest, sat there and said, snuck up on his ass, right? Only for Magneto to pull himself off and do what, for a lot of comic book readers, saw what was going to happen anyway. Your adamantium has been a problem. It's high time I did something about it. And he pulls the adamantium out of Wolverine in the most brutal Mortal Kombat fashion that you can do. Which, again, for all those that are wondering, yes, this does lead to feral Wolverine. And it's kind of where, and I give Mr. Bo credit, which I know at this point he has his job back. I give Mr. Bo credit because he stopped it right at that moment where you saw the adamantium come out and Wolverine looks like how can I put this ever so nicely? A melted Lego figurine. And it stops right there. And
I was going to say a man going through a cheese grater, going through a spaghetti strainer.
That works too. But again, guys, with that being said, that's pretty much the synopsis for episode 9, as we have one more episode left for the season. Onslaught, I think, and I'm going to throw this to you guys after I say this. Onslaught is definitely going to wind up happening. At least I think so. For Wolverine, I hope so. Because Feral Wolverine, he doesn't care friend or foe. He's pretty much like everybody's catching it. If you're in my area, everybody's catching it. For a guy whose healing factor is gonna be dang near higher than almost any mutant, his agility is gonna be faster. At the same time, he's got no qualms about ending people. So that's just my thoughts on this. But Safari, I'm gonna start with you first. What did you think of the episode and things that you think are gonna happen in 10?
So I didn't really know who Onslaught was. I've heard the name because of like Marvel vs. Capcom and video games, but everyone I saw who like reacted, I just kept seeing the name pop up almost as much as it brought up the fact of like, oh, and I quote, they did it on Twitter with the Wolverine adamantium. So I didn't realize. I was looking forward to like the adamantium team. I didn't realize we were setting up for like 3 different things with the Wolverine thing, the Feral Wolverine, the Onslaught setup. And then it took me a couple watches to realize what Joe said, which is, okay, if he does undo Magneto's thing, then that kind of screws the other team, because now everybody on Earth comes back online and just floods the island, which that was why I'm like, we had to jump straight to just shooting him. You couldn't just tell him to like hold him still till they were done.
Mhm.
And Kurt just excuse me.
You're good.
Like Kurt, you just keep forgetting you have powers to like literally take people out of the positions they're in.
I mean, I'm just saying, but any thoughts on episode 10?
I feel like if we do Onslaught, I feel like they may take over Magnus, but it'll be like a vision in the back of Xavier's brain right before the end credits to try and lead us and make sure we set up a season 2. Like I think it'll be the classic old 90s show of you beat this big bad, but let's tease the next one to make sure we get renewed for another season. Curious. I think the Phoenix will come back because apparently Gambit is walking around. Not Gambit. Cable is walking around with like Final Flash in a can apparently this whole time. Like,
pretty much.
And then the fact that he's got a Sentinel disintegrating pistol, that just feels. I feel like you shouldn't have as many problems as you do. You can just blow holes in them that quickly. I think we've done a good job of making Sinister and what is the other robot from the future that has caused all of this?
Bastion?
Not Bastion, but
Bastion.
Nimrod.
Nimrod. I feel like Nimrod. I feel like I never really respected Nimrod and Sinister because they always were like glass jaw villains, whereas they're the reason for all of our problems right now. Except Sinister is clearly not built for battle because Jean hit him with a bowling ball and he tapped out.
That was still funny. Joe, what about you, sir?
Oh, there were so many things I noticed. Rogue is in her Second Coming Messiah Complex outfit. Rogue is also standing in for Colossus during the Fatal Attraction saga. Bishop being gone, I think, is a misnomer. I think we just traded Bishop out for Cable in terms of time travelers. I don't know when we're seeing him next. He'll be down the road. Phoenix very much foreshadowed by that small talk between Jean and Storm. Rogue roasting everybody was hilarious. Poor Morph. It's like, you didn't even last 30 minutes before we fed you to the wolves. I mean, it's pretty much Austin Powers' dad in the third movie with that one henchman. You stand no chance. You don't even have a name tag. Just lay down. The Jubilee versus Roberto Da Costa stuff was interesting because those two are quote unquote lovers, question mark. But Roberto does make a solid point. It's like, look, I'm not technically part of you guys. I haven't said yes. And my own mother just sold me out to the Sentinels. I'm going with the guy that keeps those things turned off. And like, also, I love that if you look at Roberto's card, you do see one of the primary writers of the X-Men as one of the contacts.
You know what?
I love the fact that everybody got their 80s costume. What's up?
No, I said that. No, I was just saying, you know what? I just hadn't thought about that, but go ahead.
I love that everybody got their 80s costumes. I would have loved if they've gotten their old school, like, X Factor 80s costumes. But the fact that we went, like, Marvel Girl, 80s Cyclops, 80s Brown Wolverine was really cool. Jubilee actually gets her current outfit. Coincidentally enough, actually, that's her vampire outfit of all things.
Yeah.
I don't know how effective Morph with shoulder pads is going to be, but sure. I do like the fact that we got a cameo for Hulk, even though it's Morph, but reminding everybody, Morph does not copy powers. He only copies physical appearance and mass. So that is why Jean Grey had to augment him and help him out. But Jean Grey is absolutely going to be the Phoenix because she got a blasted oblivion because Cable used all of his psychic powers, meaning that techno-organic virus is going to be taking over half his body because Cable is constantly using his powers to keep the virus at bay. That's why one arm is like that. Yeah, the moment I saw them put the helmet on Xavier's head, it's like, right, he can't send or receive. Technically, he's a phone that can't send or receive with that helmet on. That's why Magneto has it, because it's a side dampener helmet. So Charles is literally just a little old man in a chair, which I love that Magneto just like, old friend, I finally get to tell you these 2 words. Shut up.
That part.
Like, all your posturing, you left us here, you fooled everybody, you fooled all the people that cared about you to go chase your bird woman. Shut up. You don't get a say in this. Ooh, and then, like I said, the moment they put the helmet on him and then they do the anti pool, that was just like, oh, you guys are just foreshadowing Onslaught at this point, because how Onslaught is made. And again, guys, this is pure speculation on my part. I don't know that he's coming. For all we know, the 11th hour could be time travel, then all of a sudden we're in Age of Apocalypse for God knows what reason. But the very act of Xavier seeing Magneto stabbed, Wolverine having his adamantium ripped out, his inability to be a leader and an effective, seeing all these people in mental anguish and all the death is what causes that malice to form, that dark psychic resonance within Charles to form Onslaught to begin with. Now, there's other factors that make Onslaught real, but I highly doubt we're going to be getting Franklin Richards involved in this, so it's just going to probably be a psychic manifestation that's made whole into Onslaught later on down the road. But everything that sets up Onslaught is here.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're doing with Storm and Forge. They're their own thing at this point. I honestly don't know what they're doing with them. I was kind of disappointed they got taken out so quickly after such a overly dramatic Batman return for Storm, like on the rooftop in the rain.
Yeah.
And everything. I am vengeance, I'm the night, I am an 11.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty funny. But
no. Like, this episode was just a lot of foreshadowing.
Yeah. But
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Madeline's in limbo at this point.
Yeah. I mean, technically she did leave, but we never actually saw her. We never actually saw exactly where she went. So, I mean, it's possible she might be in limbo, but no, it's one of those things where, like I said, I know a lot of people are still reeling from what they saw, and we only have one more episode left, guys, of X-Men, but we are definitely going to cover it when it comes out. But we are going to go ahead and switch to our comic pool, guys, because usually on How the Fact we got here, we do talk about comics as we wrap things up. We always do want to show love to Rick's Comic City. Again, Rick's Comic City, #1 place in Nashville to go to for comic books locations. They do have 2 locations, one in Nashville and one in Clarksville, Tennessee. Definitely check them out for games. For mangas, for comics, for comic books, for condominiums, movie posters, memorabilia, collector's items. You name it, they have it there. Definitely check that place out. And again, let them know the guys at Get Bit sent you. It doesn't get you any discounts, but let you know that they show us love, because if you go there, you usually see our shows on their television, so we definitely are thankful for that. If you are not in the Middle Tennessee area, guys, please, please support your local comic book stores, support your local libraries. They are the last places to where you can get comics. I get it. I understand it. Amazon is good. Barnes & Noble is good. Places that have Starbucks are great. But let me tell you something. There's just an experience when you do go to a comic book store and when you do go to a library that you can just not simply get by just simply ordering and waiting for it. You can definitely bring others to enjoy it, as we just had free comic book day last weekend. A lot of people were able to come out and get free comic books and also other things out there, depending on what your comic book store is doing. So again, guys, and also kids, really quickly, read the banned books. We cannot tell you enough here at Get Bit Podcast that right now you're not going to be able to understand it because you might be too young, but there are things out there and people out there that are trying to prevent you from actually reading things because they fear of what you may know. So boys and girls out there with the sound of my voice, if you do go to your local library, read the banned books, you'll be better for it. And again, support your local comic book stores, support your local libraries. You will miss them when they are gone. I do see Joe has got up his comic books up, sir. So whenever you're ready.
Ooh, Blood Hunt.
All right, guys. Be forewarned. We do not have any DC comics this time around because vampires have decided that it's now Summerween, and we are looking at nothing but Marvel this week with some small Transformers stuff. So this is the big summer event for Marvel, Blood Hunt. The main book itself does have a red band version where you can find all the horror and gore to your heart's content. This is written by Jed McKay, who has been also currently writing Moon Knight, Doctor Strange, and the Avengers, and will also be heading up an X-Men book. This is drawn by Pepe Larraza and art by Mateo Garcia. So pretty much the crux of this is vampires have taken over all of the world and have pretty much used anybody that uses the Dark Force. So Cloak, Blackout, anybody that can project Dark Force or enter the dark, have ties to the Dark Realm, has pretty much gone off as a living explosion and become a portal system, shrouding the world in eternal darkness. The caveat is, seems like Blade is behind this and Dracula is not. So we don't know what happens, but in the first Blood Hunt, we lose a good chunk of people like right out the gate. And we lose heavy hitters right out the gate. Either they are killed or they are turned. So this is a big, big thing. I don't even know if we have the Watcher in this issue, but I'm assuming he's somewhere.
Oh, he probably is.
But Will, what do you think of Blood Hunt 1?
Oh, love the twist. I mean, the whole thing about, like I said before, with Blade and the fact that it's kind of hinting. Well, we talked about this offline, but it is a different twist because initially with Blood Hunt, you really thought it was going to be Dracula first. Come to find out, it's really just Blade really pulling chess moves that you did not think were going to actually happen. And not to go too much into Blood Hunt, like Joe was saying, a lot happened in what felt like the first 10 pages. So I'd highly recommend, if you haven't read it, you really should, because we could do a deeper dive into it, but honestly, it wouldn't do the book justice. So I agree with Joe. For the first issue of Blood Hunt and how they actually started this, the fact that it's still Jed McKay, which makes me feel extremely good about this, it's definitely worth the read.
So next up, we have Avengers, a Blood Hunt tie-in, written by Jed McKay, with art by C.F. Vila and color Federico Bleed. But these aren't the Avengers that Jed McKay is usually writing. Why is that? Please go read Blood Hunt 1. This team consists of Captain America, Quicksilver, Frenzy, and a newly armored version of Hercules. Why is Hercules here and not Thor? Please go read Blood Hunt 1. Naturally, what happens when Captain America gets involved? Vampires. Nazi vampires. So we get the formation of a new version of Avengers. They got to fight. Naturally, I love the joke that even they're like, really? Nazi zombies? Isn't this a bit cliche?
I mean, it's like you almost want to sit there and call it when they were asking Cap. He's like, I've seen a lot. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have, Cap. But Nazi vampires? Really?
My favorite part is where he throws the shield and someone's like, shield's a little weird. It's like, yeah, this was dipped in silver back in the. This is my shield that got dipped in silver back in the 40s when I turned into a wolf. I'm sorry, what now?
They sashayed right on past that. It's like, yeah, I was a werewolf for a little while. So just in case you need to take me out. But no, it was definitely good. It was definitely a good issue. I love the fact how Hercules I love the fact how Hercules was just so calm. The whole time the whole thing was going down, it's like it's like if Thor was chilled out. That's basically Hercules in this episode. And I'm sorry, this issue.
So next up, we got Blood Hunters, a tie-in. Okay, this one is not written by Jed MacKay. The first one we got, The City That Never Weeps, is Mark Russell with art by Bob Quinn. Blood Relations by Christos Gage with Javier Garan drawing it. And Once More Into the Darkness is written by Erica Schultz with art by Bernard Chang. The first one is Hawkeye just chilling out, getting used to a Ted Lasso mustache as a vampire invasion starts in whatever area of New York he's in. And for Hawkeye, this is just Tuesday. The next storyline, we get to deal with Man-Wolf and his father, J. Jonah Jameson, as they just try to make it to safety while Man-Wolf is trying to connect to J. Jonah Jameson because he feels inadequate because JJ is so reliant on Spider-Man. And apparently we learned that being Moonwolf not only makes him technically a holy man, but immune to vampirism because he's got the amulet, which he's also royalty, which also acts as a holy relic. So being blasted by the blood gem also can kill vampires. But also it's just a nice heartwarming tale between father and son. And then any thoughts on that one?
It was weird. Well, no, for that one, it was interesting for that story just because J. Jonah Jameson had to admit that you were so obsessed with Spider-Man that you forgot about your own son, who was actually okay in his own right. And the rom-com moment they have at the end, I thought was pretty cool. It's like, forget Spider-Man, I have my own. My son can do great things too. I'm like, that's all your son wanted, sir. But no, it was a good story.
Any thought on the Hawkeye story?
Hawkeye was just that's typical Hawkeye if you think about it. I mean, technically, you're trying to hide out. Your mustache really doesn't help, and the mustache is just a running joke the entire issue. That's the funny part. It's like he felt so bad about the mustache until it finally got acknowledged. It's like, you know what? That's a cool mustache. That's all I wanted to hear. That's all it's it. But no, it was good. It was a good read.
And then the final story deals with Dagger because her. And then the final story deals with Dagger because her boyfriend or husband. I am unsure how they are related now. I don't know if they're married or not in the books. But since Cloak is directly linked to the Dark Force, he is essentially exploded and became a portal. So Dagger is fighting off a vampire invasion and then meets up with Elsa Bloodstone at the end. This was a little bit less weaker. This was more of an action-based thing of just her trying to figure out what's going on with Cloak and the other Dark Force users. But I think that may actually hold some more relevance than the other two stories. But, you know, we get Elsa Bloodstone, professional vampire hunter, on the scene. So this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Moving on over, we have Doctor Strange, written by, you'll never guess who. It's Jed MacKay. Written by Jed MacKay with art by Pascal Ferry, and Heather Moore is the artist. So this deals with the direct fallout of Blood Hunt 1. Go read that. But for whatever reason, Doctor Strange is completely incapacitated, and Clea has to defend the Sanctum Sanctorum against a known enemy while simultaneously communing with strangest soul, because that's the only part of him used. My favorite part is we actually got to use the Crimson Bands of Sinnerac to restrain somebody. We also need to keep in mind that there are technically two Stephen Stranges in the house at the moment. From the prior arc, we have General Stephen Strange and Dr. Stephen Strange.
Right.
As well as Stephen's mirror twin brother, who is in the mirror realm, along with Clea Snakes and Baz the Hound. So there's a lot going on in this book. It's still fun and a solid tie-in. And this may actually be probably one of the more influential books of the tie-ins.
Oh, the fact that Blade went after Strange is the number one threat, but yeah. Which is still weird that he turned Strange. Still weird about that.
Well, Strange already figured out how to solve it because he had that Montesi formula figured out.
Yeah, the spell that kills all vampires. Which I'm just like, how do you not have that at the ready? I'm just saying.
Well, tentatively, under Dracula's rule, they have like a peace accord between humans, mutants, and vampires, all under thing. Because if you read Executioner's Boom Boom owes Dracula one, or Dracula owes Boom Boom one.
I think it's the other way around.
Because of the whole thing of Dracula's grandson kind of screwing over.
Yeah.
Also, guys, keep in mind that if you need to read a certain book in Bloodhunt, the issues will tell you you must read this book before reading this issue. Speaking of Dracula, we got Dracula Bloodhunt 1 of 3. This is written by Danny Orr with art by Vincenzo Corrado and David Carell as artist. So we catch up with Blade's daughter being dropped off by her mom and fighting vampires in, I think, England, and then Dracula shows up because everybody's becoming a vampire, and naturally she thinks, you're behind this. And Dracula's like, no, I'm here to find out who is behind this because I don't like this happening.
Although with that issue with Dracula killed me with the fact that he was just kind of scalded Blade's daughter just a little bit. He's like, you're the daughter of my most greatest arch nemesis, and you can use more training. It's like, how do you get critiqued by the daughter of your arch villain? That's the crazy part. Even though her powers are kind of going wonky right now, he's just like, I have to save your father because apparently, everybody's going to be blaming me. But no, it was a good issue though.
I enjoyed it. I just like the fact that Dracula's like, I don't know who's behind this, but God help me if I figure out who. He just seems like he's really tired of stuff like this happening and him getting blamed.
Oh, he's definitely tired of it.
Speaking of that, we also got Strange Academy #1. This is written by Daniel Jose Older with art by Luigi Zagaria and colors by Edgar Delgado. I really enjoyed this. This does tie into Doctor Strange because this is his academy. We got our usual cast of characters from the Strange Academy dealing with the vampire uprising and one of their own members being a vampire as well. This does not hold the stronger hand. This does not hold quite the grip that the other books does on the greater whole. This is just literally, here's what's going on with Brother Voodoo and the kids of Strange Academy while the vampire revolt is happening. This does not really feed into the central plot or anything. The
Right.
biggest news they got is like, by the way, Strange is dead again. And like, we'll be back in
What
2
else?
days.
Right.
I mean, that was just pretty much it. This was just a solid book overall, but I always want to give Strange Academy some love because it's just an underappreciated book. I love that Doyle Dormammu still is like, you're the child of Dormammu. You can probably deal with this on your own if you really wanted to.
True.
So is this like Teenage Beast in the middle of this pack, or who is this person?
Oh, the guy in blue.
Yeah,
that's the that.
No, so that is a younger Frost Giant.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw like the facial markings. So I'm like, either this is Beast Kid or he is from somewhere else. And then so everything is just a overarching blood hunt story then for this season.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Everything is a blood hunt story. The only one I didn't include was Spider-Man because it just dealt with like the White Rabbit becoming a vampire and Spidey stopping her. It's like, even an event, line-wide event, you failed to live up to expectation.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
Moving on over for something that's not Blood Hunt related, we're looking at X-Men Forever #3. This is the continuing fallout of the end of Krakoa. This is just pretty much Mr. Sinister and Destiny getting their cards straight and everyone getting ready to make a move against Orchis while Raven Mystique comes back and she is not happy with her wife. There are some trust issues. There's some problems in the house of Raven.
Understatement, but you ain't wrong.
That's pretty much it. It was an okay issue.
Understatement of the year, but you're
I
not
like that
wrong.
it was summed up. It's like, Kurt, what's going on?
It's like,
I did like in the issue. Someone just like comes to Kurt's like, what's going on? My moms are fighting.
That part was funny.
And then we're ending it out with Transformers. This is written by Jenny Warren Johnson with art by Jorge Corona and colors by Mike Spencer. Again, another outstanding book. Highlights were because of what happened with Sparkbug fusing with the Matrix, Optimus is starting to get his memories. So some weird stuff is going on with Optimus. They're still trying to work out stuff with Carly because, like, she's mad and wants to go to war with the Decepticons for what they did to her dad. On Cybertron, Alita 1's trying to save Ultra Magnus, and Ultra Magnus is like, just kill me. Dear God, please just kill me. But I'd say the biggest highlight of this issue was the Decepticon part. Because they attack a naval ship to get something in the ocean, and Thundercracker lets everyone go.
Mm-hmm.
And this, to me, it was very important to me because this was Thundercracker's thing from the IDW book. This is why after the war ends, he becomes just like a TV writer in LA and has a dog and gets a daytime Emmy. And we start seeing like Thundercracker's like, look, I'm down to fight I'm down to fight the Autobots, but we don't need to be like killing these people. They got their own thing going on. And Soundwave actually is like, look, I am normally with you on this, but this is something we can't let the Autobots be aware of. We can't leave witnesses. I am really sorry. And then just shoots every single life raft and blows every single person. But I mean, Soundwave just does sympathize with Thundercrackers. Like, I don't want this senseless violence either. But what we got to do, no one can know about.
Right.
So what they do is they haul up the Nemesis, the old Decepticon ship, and then contact basically Satan, which means they got in contact with Shockwave.
Right.
But like I said, the highlights of this book for me was Thundercracker and Soundwave. It's like, look, Neither one of us want to do this, but this has to be done. This was my favorite part of the book. I love this book. Easily the book of the week goes to Blood Hunt because that just kicks off everything and just like kicks you right in the face and in the gut. But this was a close second.
Cool.
What'd you think?
Oh, Blood Hunt's gonna run it. Blood Hunt runs it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Blood Hunt kind of overshadowed really X-Men Transformers this week. That's just I get no other words for that. I mean, Transformers itself was a good issue, but I was focused on Blood Hunt. I'm just gonna be honest.
Is Ultimate Black Panther still going, or did that get overshadowed now mid-run?
Oh yeah.
No, issue 3 did come out. Issue 4 is probably gonna be coming out next week, I think. Am I right on that, Joe?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right on that. Blood Hunt only affects the main Marvel line, not the Ultimates line.
Okay.
Yeah. But thank you, Joe, for those comment pools, guys. As
but
usual.
I mean, they're gonna have to find a new Black Panther, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah, definitely. But as we wrap this up, guys, again, thank you, Joe, for those comic book pools. But like I said, we get to our shout outs here. So Tafari, I'm gonna start with you, sir. Let people know what you're doing and going from there.
You can find me here on all platforms. I post on Mondays because Mondays are terrible, and I try to make them a little bit less sucky. If you come to my most recent video, I would like to post that I made my video and my skit before this Drake beef led to people getting shot and J. Cole found hiding on a beach. I didn't know both those things were actually going to happen the next damn day. So just in case any K-Dot Rangers or Aubrey's Angels come to my comments, I didn't do this. You can also find me on Blur's Eye View. I do the editing and behind the scenes. So I do clips Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So you can always find me chopping things up. I'll actually be at MomoCon for the first time in a couple weeks too. So if you're out and about in ATL, you will find me out in these streets.
All right. Joe, you want people know what you're up to, sir?
Trying to survive as May keeps beating me down slowly. But May is also API Heritage Month. For those unaware, I am here because I am API. I am part Japanese. I have a lot of friends in the API Middle Tennessee group. We do a lot of fun charity work, make a lot of community events, help a lot of API people with a lot of judiciary and awareness problems as well as raising up people that like do food or small time stuff. We as well. Solid fun group to be a part of. I will be at India Fest, actually supporting one of the API events tomorrow over in Bellevue. The Ganesh Temple is open to the general public for a food festival and temple viewing. Then we will be doing API soccer game over Wednesday. It's just a fun group to be a part of. I'm very, very happy that I get to hang out with other Asian people of different minorities. They've been wonderful people who treat me wonderfully. I hope to be helping them as long as I can. As for the YouTube stuff, I gotta find time to actually do anything on YouTube. It's not even the editing part anymore. It's just I'm like 3 weeks behind on every show. Apparently, Kamen Rider Decade just like jumped into Kamen Rider Gotchard and booted him off his own show. It's like, this is my show again. It's my turn. I don't know what's going on over there.
Nice. But still, you say what, Joe?
I forget. We go to the other things. I did get to watch the new Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
It is absolutely excellent. Shooty got one knocks out of the park. That man is a treasure and a joy and has a wonderful singing voice. That will be all I will say for one episode. And I need just that he's got, I will say, probably one of the most attractive companions they've ever had on Doctor Who ever. with the actress that's playing Ruby Sunday, I can watch her do anything.
Nice. I can't wait to look forward to watch that myself. All right. So as far as me, guys, like I said, shameless plugging as usual. I always want to shout out BlurStation.com. I keep on saying this about BlurStation.com, guys. It is the vehicle that we keep saying that we need for people of color and for blurs. It's place for comics, for movies, for television shows, things of that nature. You want it, they have it. Definitely check it out. It's BlurStation.com. To join it, if you are joining it, please select the Blur's Eye View Affinity membership. It's $10.99 a month. Again, $10.99. You cannot beat that with a stick. At the same time, guys, if you are a content creator that would love to have your thing shown on BlurStation.com, you have to actually join BlurStation as a member first. Then you'll be able to make your pitch to have your content on BlurStation.com. The beauty part about BlurStation.com is that you keep your content. The only thing that BlurStation asks for is a bit of the distribution, and honestly, that's a great deal. Again, after 36 months of paying $10.99 a month, you do have the option of owning a piece of BlurStation. It's a lot easier than owning a piece of Amazon Prime or Hulu, I'll tell you that. But again, these are the vehicles that are here, guys, that actually will help us move forward in actually claiming our entertainment piece of the pie, if you will. But definitely check it out, BlurStation.com. As for me, guys, as I literally just put it on Tafari. I'm sorry, Tafari.
Group shot.
I'm sorry, Tafari. I meant to take. I'm sorry. There we go. I apologize, Tafari. Black_Spartan 615 is where you can find me again on the socials. I go forth with my shows, How the Fractal Got Here, and of course, Get Bit Podcasts, where shows with both those shows can be seen or heard, where podcasts can be seen or heard. The banner at the bottom, make that a little bit bigger for you guys. See if you copy and paste that into your browser, we'll take you to my link to the YouTube and Facebook groups for all of my podcasts. How the Fractal Got Here, Get Bit, Offense Podcast. Like, share, subscribe, get the notifications up. We simply put cannot do this without you, without your support. And we thank everybody that liked, that watched, that let people know this is live, that commented. We appreciate all of you. And at the same time, let people know about us. We're friendly most of the time. At the same time, we do love to cover everything that happens in the world of video games, of movies, of television, of sci-fi, wrestling. Yes, wrestling. We cover that too. And comics. Again, it is the pop culture world that we do and love so much. And we want to share that with you. We thank you for allowing us to take a little bit of your precious time and actually have some fun with it. So, aside from that, guys, we wrap this up. We will definitely be back here, guys. Same Get Bit time, same Get Bit channel to next Friday with the news of the week. And before I wrap this up, guys, any last words?
Magneto was right.
Magneto was definitely right. Joe?
Apparently, there's Aurora Borealis going on, and I don't have any steamed hams on me. I am sad.
Yeah, I'm not. Nope. Not getting sucked into that one. Nope. All right. Well, the last thing I'll say about Get Bit Podcast, guys, is that we, with fandoms, we love them, we support them, we debate them, we, get a little testy about them. But what we're definitely not is gatekeepers. We're definitely not against those with different dislikes, the different tastes than us. Simply put, guys, we are all in the fact of sharing and encouraging, because that's what makes these fandoms great. It what makes going to cons great. As Tafari pointed out, he's going to MomoCon. The experience of going to a con, meeting likewise others with the same taste as yourselves, is a fun experience, and you make a lot of friends. However, the one thing that we do not condone on Get Bit, outside of being a toxic fan base, is simply put in the words of Will Wheaton, don't be a dick. If someone likes something differently than you, that's fine. Maybe it's a chance for you to learn something new outside of your own world, but you can't do so if you're going to be a dick about everything. So simply put, love fandoms, share fandoms, be kind to others, be nice to others, enjoy the world, and don't be a dick. That being said, guys, that's going to do it for this Get Bit Podcast. I've been Will. He's been Tafari. He's been Joe. Again, take care of yourselves and each other. We'll all get through this. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a good